Welcome. I'm glad you can take in this little time of basic meditation instruction. And this is in the practice of Shambhala meditation. I'm Catherine Moyer, and I've been practicing this type of meditation now for over 30 years. I'm the practice and education person for the Sydney Shambhala Meditation Group. And I was very pleased to be asked to do this video to help anybody who would like to start meditation, or somebody who might already be meditating and would like a little update or inspiration to help them continue or start again with their practice. So we say the practice begins with the intention to go to your cushion. Right now I'm sitting in a chair, and actually I sit in a chair now because I have a problem with one of my knees. Lots of us sit on a cushion and right down on the floor with legs crossed, so that's fine, but sitting on a chair is just as good as sitting on a cushion. Anyway, as you come to decide, when you decide, okay, now is my time, I'm going to do some meditating, and you're proceeding towards your chair or your cushion, there's a sense of purpose. There's a sense of placement. Now I'm going to place myself in the posture of meditation, and I'm going to do this, and you decide how long. I'm going to do this for, say, 15 minutes, or I'm going to do this for 20 minutes. And it's good to stick to that, whatever we decide. So it's a good idea to have a sense of discipline and also a sense of relaxation, generosity, kindness towards yourself as you sit down on your cushion. This type of meditation is called shamatha, which means calm abiding or peaceful abiding. And the idea is that when we're doing this type of meditation, we relax our mind. We allow our mind to be in the present moment, and we allow ourselves to see into our own mind, to experience ourself as we are in the present moment. And that is what shamatha is all about. So let's get right into it. We'll start with posture. When we do shamatha meditation, we have our feet on the floor, flat on the floor. If you find that you're short and your chair is a bit high, you might want to put a cushion under your feet just to make sure that you're not like this. Instead, you've got them nice and flat on the floor. The posture of meditation is one that is central. You have a sense of being on your chair. You have a sense of being well balanced. So we put our hands on our thighs, and it's best not to be like this, holding yourself up, or way back like this. The idea is to be alert and yet relaxed. So a good posture. The back is strong. It follows the natural curvature of your back, so that you use your skeleton to hold yourself in place rather than your muscles. So your sits bone are in the center of your chair. Which holds your spine in place. You can think of it as kind of like a stack of coins going up, with that natural, beautiful natural curvature in the center. The front is soft, so you allow your belly to relax. It's good if your muscles are relaxed. You'll notice if your posture is good, you don't have to hold yourself in place. If you have to kind of use a lot of muscles to hold yourself in place, then check your posture. Shoulders are down. And we often put our chin forward like this when we're doing our everyday sitting at our desk. So it's a good idea to kind of check on your chin, and if your chin is a little bit tucked in, that will hold your head in place, and then let it sit right there on your shoulders the way it's supposed to. And that way your skeleton will take the weight of that big heavy head that we have. It's good to notice the jaw, because we often use our jaw to hold in tension, clamping it like this, and it often is something that if we check it, we realize, oh yes, I am tense. My jaw is clenched. So often during meditation, you can just say, well, how are my muscles in my face? How's my jaw? Is it clenched or is it relaxed? So relax your jaw and all the muscles in your face. One way we can check our posture is you can pretend there's a string going from the crown of your head, right here, and that it goes right up to the ceiling, and then somebody pulls on it. So you go up like this, right on that string that's going right from the crown, stretch right up, and then relax back down in that same line. Check your muscles again, make sure everything is nice and relaxed. Soft front, strong back, feet placed evenly on the floor. This type of meditation is done with the eyes open, which is different than a lot of practices. And if you already have been meditating for some time and it's with the eyes closed, then feel free to go back to that type of meditation. But for now, experiment with what we do here. So your eyes are open, and the gaze is what we call a soft gaze. So we're not staring at any particular object, and we're looking, but we're not seeing, so we're not registering what we are looking at. It's just shapes ahead of us. It's just the environment that we're in. Doesn't have to have any particular judgment. It's not a good environment or a bad environment. It's just what's here. So our eyes are open, our gaze is soft, and we have kind of a peripheral vision that we can also have as part of this meditation. And the gaze is kept downward when we first learn meditation, and later on we can raise it up. But right now we'll keep it downward. And so when you look down with a soft gaze, allowing all the peripheral vision to come in, you can let the point of where your vision goes about 2 meters ahead of you. That 6-foot distancing that we're all learning so well these days, that's where our vision, where we view. So our view goes down about 2 meters ahead of us and touches the floor there. So it's kind of good if you have 2 meters in front of you, but if you don't, you just pretend you do and go right through the wall and down. So that's the posture. And the posture gives us a chance to feel like a dignified person, a person with open-heartedness, a person like a very, very good king or queen sitting on a throne. There's a sense of dignity. So that's the feeling that comes with this type of posture. And you can see this posture in statues, and they're in all kinds of cultures where you see statues of kings, queens, or the Buddha, or anyone who is in a position of authority. Often they'll be sitting like this with a dignified, good posture. And that's the idea. We are all kings and queens. So when we're breathing, we might get a kind of a dry mouth. So it's kind of good if you can keep your tongue just on the top, roof of your mouth, just behind your teeth. It's not something to obsess about, but it'll help your mouth just to open a crack, and it'll help it to stay, moist and not dry out. So the object of this meditation, which is very simple, is the breath or breathing. Also the posture is an aid to staying in the moment, so it's part of the meditation as well. So our focus is on the breath, and sometimes with meditation you have a little shrine or a candle or flowers, and that's all fine, but that is not the object of the meditation. The object of our meditation is breathing. Breathing is something that we do all the time, of course. It's with us all the time. It's a sign that we're alive. And it's always changing. Like, it might be fast. If you rushed over to your cushion and sat right down, you might have a fast breath. Or it could be slow. If you're kind of getting dozy and falling asleep, your breathing might slow down. So it's just natural breathing, whatever is the right breath for you right now. It doesn't have to be fast or slow. You don't have to hold it or count it. It's just regular everyday breathing, and it's no big deal. That's what Chokin Trungpa used to say a lot. This is no big deal. It's not something that we're doing that's special. It's something that we're doing that's very ordinary and very healthy. So while you're breathing, you can just put your attention on the breath and feel it. Feel the air going in, and then in particular feel the air leaving, going out into the atmosphere. When you breathe out, there's a sense of release. I'm here, I'm on my cushion, thank goodness, finally I get to meditate. Sense of appreciation too. And as the breath goes out, you can kind of feel as though you're going out with it. I know that sounds odd, but we have such a solid reference to ourselves that's encapsulated in our body. And this is a good way to kind of dissolve some of that. So as we breathe out, we go out with the breath and dissolve into our environment. Dissolve into the atmosphere. There's a sense of openness, open-heartedness. When we're uptight, we can't dissolve out. So if we're uptight, we'll notice it because it'll be hard to let go. And that's okay too. It's all about noticing things. So let's just sit here and just breathe together for a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes. We can start right now. Okay, so that's 5 minutes of breathing. It might have seemed like a long time. And that's fine because time is very variable. And sometimes it seems short and sometimes it seems long. So probably while you were sitting here breathing, you probably had quite a bit of things to think about. And we are thinking human beings. We use our mind all the time. We were walking down the street and we're planning our day. We're doing the dishes and we're wondering what we will make for supper. Or we're picking up the kids and we're thinking about, what we did last month. Or we could be sitting here on the cushion and remembering the sitcom we watched last night. And that can go on for the whole period of the meditation. So the idea is to be in the present moment. And when we're having these little thoughts, we can still be in the present moment. So let's say you're sitting here and you think, oh yeah, now this is my posture. Oh well, the light is kind of bright. Those little thoughts are like background noise. They're sort of like the traffic outside the door, or sort of like the birds singing. We can just let that be. Just let those thoughts come and go. Don't have to put a lot of emphasis on them. Just let them be. Keep breathing. So long as you're feeling that breath going out and in and out, then those thoughts are just part of it all. And we don't have to run after them or make a big deal out of them at all. Then there's another kind of thinking, which is, we call it lost in thought. That would be like if you remembered a time when you were with your mother, and then you remembered, oh yes, and my sister was there too, and we went on a cruise, and this is what it was like. And those long thoughts, or lost in thought, can really go for a long time without us noticing that that's what we're doing. So when we do that, and we all do it, after a little while, we'll, if we're sitting on our cushion, we'll realize it. We'll think, oh. And then that is a very precious moment, because we normally do not do that. We normally don't notice that we're thinking. We just keep on going. So this is a whole different thing that we're doing, and we're noticing that we were lost in thought. Now we're here, we're back. So at that moment, you can just say thinking to yourself, or, oh, I was thinking, in a very kind and kind of appreciative way. I was lost in thought, but now I'm back. This is a precious moment. Sometimes when we have this objective to stop thinking, there's a problem. That's a real obstacle. So that when we notice that we were thinking, we're like, oh my God, I was thinking for so long. And why am I always thinking? That's an obstacle. So don't do that. Just be kind to yourself. Just let it go. Don't follow that thought any longer. Just let it go. Thinking. Back to the breath. Back to that generous attitude towards yourself, which then can also be a generous attitude towards everyone. And who knows, it could be only a matter of seconds again, and off we go with some plan for the day or whatever it is. And when we come back, thinking. Back to the breath. Just be open. No worries about thinking. And along with thinking, there's usually emotions or feelings. So let's say you were thinking about when your mother died, and there's this feeling of sadness, or maybe there's a feeling of guilt. Who knows what the feeling is going to be? It could be a happy feeling. But that's a feeling, and we try not to label it too much or follow it or put a story with it. But it's very, very important to allow that feeling to be. Allow it to be a physical feeling. So you might feel it in your heart center, or you might feel it in your gut, or you might feel anger and you might feel it in your hands getting sweaty, or, you know, whatever it is, whatever that physical feeling attached to that emotion, that's the thing to follow and to understand and to get close to. So allow that feeling to be, and it can be part of your meditation, but just in a physical sense. Don't follow it with a story. So that's pretty well how our minds act while we're meditating. We have lots of little thoughts that we can just let go by. We have sometimes long, lost in thought, and when we come back from that, we say thinking. And we'll have feelings, and we can allow ourselves to feel. We can also allow ourselves to feel our hands on our thighs, feel our sit bones in our chair, feel our breath going out, feel whatever emotion happens to be there. And it's all just normal, natural stuff. So now we'll do a little bit of meditation, and let's go for 10 minutes this time. And we will incorporate the whole idea of when we come back from our thoughts, when we're lost in thought, we'll say thinking to ourselves and just go back to the breath. Feel the posture, feel the breath coming in and going out. And whatever feelings you have, let them be. Oh, and one thing, don't feel as though you cannot ever move. If you feel like you have a bit of an itch, or your hands are sore, or your knee is bothering you, or your back, just make little adjustments. And sometimes a little adjustment is more helpful than a big one. And if we find that we're getting fidgety, because it's kind of boring to do this, it's quite boring actually, then we'll get into this, sometimes we'll like, oh, you know, you're doing this and you're doing that, and that's something to avoid. So don't worry about adjusting your posture if you feel like you need to, or scratching an itch. But if you're getting fidgety, you'll know, and you can just let yourself go back to the breath. Okay, so we'll start for 10 minutes, and I'll give a little bit of guided meditation instruction to help us through the 10 minutes. So I'll give you a few minutes first with silence. Feet are flat on the floor. Muscles nice and relaxed in your legs. Sitting in the center of your chair, well balanced on your sit bones. Hands on the thighs for stability. Not leaning forward or back, but using your skeleton to hold you up. Soft front. Strong back. Your spine has that natural curvature, going straight up. You can pretend you have a string going from the crown of your head right up to the ceiling. And sometimes it's good to just stretch up a bit and then come back down, relaxing the muscles as we go down. A good sense of head and shoulders, like a king or a queen on a throne. Chin is tucked in. Tongue behind your upper teeth. You can have your mouth just slightly cracked open, but that's not necessary. Jaw relaxed. No clenching your teeth. Facial muscles can relax. Gaze is downwards about 2 meters ahead. It's a soft gaze and takes in as much of the environment as your eyes take in. Not to stare at any one particular object, just to have a soft gaze. If you feel the need to move, that's fine. Small movements are best. So feel the breath. Feel it going down your windpipe into your lungs. Filling your lungs, going back out, out into the atmosphere, mixing with the atmosphere. Allow yourself to go out with your breath, open up. Sense of open-heartedness. Notice your feelings. There's a sense of kindness to yourself when you notice your feelings, and also inquisitiveness, curiosity. How am I feeling today? But not to follow those feelings into stories, just simply, how do you feel? Breath goes in, breath goes out. And feel your posture, Inevitably, there will be a long kind of thought or plan, something that's happening that takes you away from your breath. And when that happens, you can say thinking to yourself. It's actually, that's not when it happens, that's when it has stopped happening, because you've noticed it. So when you notice yourself thinking, haven't been noticing my breath lately, I'm just thinking away. So then you just go back to your breath. Back to your present moment. Back to the feelings. Back to your posture. Hands on your thighs, feet on the floor, butt in your chair. Nice feeling in the shoulders and relaxed jaw. Go back to the posture. Back to the breath. Thinking. Back to the breath. Always with the sense of kindness to yourself, appreciation for what you're doing, curiosity, generosity towards yourself and others. So that's been, I think, 15 minutes maybe. It was quite a nice little bit of meditation that we did together. Normally I do about 20 minutes to half an hour every single morning. Let's do a little stretch. There. You can stand and stretch if you'd like, and just then sit back down. So we really suggest that this is not something you do once and figure that there, now I've done meditation. It's not how it works. It's kind of like brushing your teeth. You don't just brush your teeth once and say, there, I've done it for my life. And hope that your teeth are going to be great from now on. Instead, it's an everyday. Sometimes people do it 2-3 times a day. But at least once a day, you can sit in your chair, and it's like mental hygiene. Some people find it really difficult to find the time. So it's up to you to find the time and to decide when is the best time for you. So often the best time is when we get up in the morning. But it can be any time of the day or in the evening before you go to bed. I find I'm too tired in the evening. I half fall asleep while I'm doing meditation in the evening. But I do try to put in about 5 minutes in the evening. There's lots of support material. There'll be a page that you'll get at the end of this instruction. But then you can get books all over the place, and there's YouTube videos, and if you go to YouTube and say Shambhala meditation instruction, there'll be all kinds of it in there, and you can choose whatever teacher appeals to you. Our foundational teacher, Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, Rinpoche just means teacher, started Shambhala, and he is on the YouTubes, and I find it quite endearing to listen to him. Sakyam Mipam Rinpoche is our spiritual leader for Shambhala, and he gives excellent meditation instruction on YouTube as well. And then there's books, lots of books. You can get them from Amazon or, pretty well anywhere that sells books. I find the very best starter book is Sacred Path of the Warrior by Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche. Pema Chodron is also one of our root teachers, and she lives here in Cape Breton. She lives in Gampo Abbey up in Pleasant Bay, and she's written many books. A good start from her would be Start Where You Are. That's a book that she wrote at the beginning for beginning meditators. Or Ruling Your World by Sakyam Mipam is another very good book. So if you have a chance to write down the names of these books, or don't worry about the titles of the people who wrote them. Probably there aren't a lot with that same title, and you'll recognize them when you see them. And yes, like I said, go ahead and do this at home on your own. Or if you know some people that would like to do it with you, that's great. There's contact information on your handout at the end of this, where we do meet. We meet on Zoom right now. We were meeting in a nice hall, but then when COVID struck, we decided to stay with Zoom until everybody's safe again. But Zoom is kind of neat too, because we've gotten people who join us from places where they couldn't actually get to us before, so that's been really kind of nice. So remember, this is just something that's ordinary and something that's generous and kind, something that we do for ourselves every day. If you can just put in 5 minutes, that's much better than putting in 2 hours on the weekend. 5 minutes every morning is great, and then maybe later on you'll find you actually have 10 minutes to do it. And it's a very good thing to do for yourself, and I thank you very much for your patience, and I hope you enjoy your future meditation.